Hi Capricorn, welcome to your weekly love reading. I hope you're doing well. There's a lot showing up in your energy this week, so let's dive in and see what Spirit wants to reveal about your love life right now, Capricorn. So we have the Four of Pentacles, the Seven of Swords, the Emperor, Strength, the Seven of Cups, the Five of Cups, the King of Wands, the King of Pentacles, and the final card is the Five of Wands. So yeah, something strange is going on with you, Capricorn. At the bottom of the deck, you have the Fool. The heart of your reading is the Seven of Cups. And the Seven of Cups, you know, it has to do with sometimes being really emotionally overwhelmed and being confused and being lost, and sometimes like being overwhelmed by so many choices. It could be that you're just confused when it comes to your love life, or you're really emotional. So something is definitely going on based on everything that I see right here, right in the middle of the reading. Okay, so let's go ahead and take it one row at a time. You have the Four of Pentacles, the Seven of Swords, and the Emperor. So Four of Pentacles, I mean, this is more of like a material card connected to money and abundance. So is the Emperor to some extent. So I feel like for some of you, especially for couples, it could be that there are arguments, and I see that here as well in the Five of Wands, and there are arguments or there are conflict related to abundance, even though this is a love reading, and this did come up for another sign. It could be that your financial situation or your job is, you know, in some way conflicting with your relationship, is creating like arguments or some type of instability. Well, the Four of Pentacles has to do, you know, with, like I said, with money and financial abundance. But it could also be that you're holding on. Some of you may be holding on really tight to a relationship when you already know that something has to change. And like I said, you will be changing direction. So I feel that some of you are struggling like with your finances or with your job, and in some way this is impacting your relationship or the way that you look at your love life. Then you have the Seven of Swords. So the Seven of Swords is kind of a tricky card, pardon the pun. And sometimes it does mean that you're being tricked, either by someone else or by yourself. You're doing it to yourself. So you have to be like, you know, really careful when this card comes up and think like, what is really going on here? Am I lying to myself, or is someone lying to me? Since this is a general reading, I mean, it could go either way. You have to ask yourself, you know, do you have certain suspicions? If you don't let what I'm saying influence you in any way. But, you know, if there are no suspicions, it could be that there's something you don't want to see about your love life as it is. You know, there's confusion here. And then you have the Strength card. I mean, this all just kind of reinforces the energy of the Seven of Swords. It sometimes means that you're being your own worst enemy, or it could mean that someone is lying to you, like I said, or that you're lying to yourself. You have to be, you know, cautious when this card comes up. And it could be, you know, seeing it next with the Four of Pentacles, that you have to be careful that you're not focusing too much on money or your career, and that you're forgetting your love life, your partner, or your family. Now, the card here is the Emperor. So this is, you know, a lot of abundance. This is stability. This is structure. I mean, like seeing these two cards with the Seven of Swords, I feel like this really is, this is meant for someone out there that is really kind of focusing on the wrong things. You're either focusing too much on your job and forgetting your partner, or maybe they're doing that to you. Or those of you who are single, you're focusing too much on looking for someone who is, you know, has a certain job, does something for a living, makes so much money, and you're being your own worst enemy. You might attract someone that you don't want in your life. Again, you're changing direction. They're asking to change direction, especially with all these cards right here. But The Emperor, you know, this could also, and this has come up for other signs, this could also represent for those of you who are single, someone new coming into your life. The Emperor can be someone who is very conservative, very financially stable, very much in control of his life. So it could be that they're saying, you know, don't focus so much on money, worrying about money and your career, holding on to unhealthy relationships, because there is someone new, someone much more stable coming into your life. Now, moving on to this row right here, we have Strength, 7 of Cups, 5 of Cups. So a lot going on in the middle row. And Strength, this card usually comes up when you're dealing with someone else's ego. It could either be your own or someone else's. And you have to be careful, you know. You have to be careful with how you react to certain people or maybe to yourself. I kind of feel when I look at these cards, I feel like it's someone else. I feel like it's your partner or someone that you're dating. So Strength means that something might come up for you this week where you're tempted to bite someone's head off, so to speak. Tempted, you know, you have to watch your reflexes. You might want to attack or say certain things that you wish you hadn't said. You have to be careful when this card comes up. You have to be very patient and compassionate and forgiving with your partner or with yourself, like I said. Well, the 7 of Cups is just like so much going on emotionally, so much. And it continues here with the 5 of Cups. You're just confused. I feel like something's going on this week, and I just feel like whatever's going on for you, it's become like too much. And it doesn't mean that this is all for those who are, you know, married or dating. It could even be for singles that you realize you're looking in the wrong place. Like I said, the Emperor could be that this is the person that you should be looking for. This is someone who's stable, who's there to stay, your life partner. But, you know, your ego might be telling you otherwise, like go for this person even though they're no good for you. There could be different choices that come up for you as far as different partners, and you're tempted to go with, you know, so-and-so because you feel drawn to them or they're attractive. Be careful this week. And then you have the 5 of Cups. This is a card of like disappointment and dwelling on something that has been lost. And, you know, it's a card of sadness and just kind of emotional pain. And it could be that, you know, this week that you have to do something. You make a decision that it hurts. It really does hurt. But you know that you have to do it. You know that you have to. I mean, especially with like the cards right here and even down here with the 5 of Wands, there's already something going on where there's conflict and people are not getting along, or you realize you're different. You're a lot more different than you thought. I feel like there's something painful coming up. But like I said, for singles, it could just be that you finally realize you have to look for a completely different kind of partner, or something has to change in the, you know, in the way that you're dating or the people that you're meeting. But I do see something like really intense going on right here with these cards. I mean, even with the 7 of Swords, you know, 5 challenging cards, it doesn't mean you're going to have a bad week as far as your love life, but this is just telling you, you know, what challenges might come up for you so that you know how to deal with them. Now this row here. So you have the King of Wands, the King of Pentacles, and the 5 of Wands. So for some of you, for those who are single, I mean, there could be that there is a choice of 2 partners. Like I said, I mentioned that over here before. There could be that there's 2 people, you know, someone who's a fire sign, someone who's an earth sign. You are an earth sign. This could be you. It could be that there's, you know, someone who's a fire sign, or you meet another earth sign, and there's conflict and you're torn because you don't know which one is the, you know, is the right choice for you. And I do get that as well from the 7 of Cups. And they're telling you, be careful, don't make the wrong decision. Like I said, you're supposed to be turning a new leaf this week, like really doing what is best for you, finding someone who is stable. So I get that for singles, but I also feel, you know, for those of you who are in a relationship, it's like somebody has to take control. If you look at this card, the King of Wands is not sitting in this chair. Every time I look at this particular card in this deck, I'm drawn to the fact that he's not in his chair. If he's not in his chair, then who has control over this relationship? Who's steering this relationship? So I feel like those who are already partnered, you have to steer this relationship in a certain direction, or things begin to spiral out of control. And I see that all over this reading. And the King of Pentacles, I feel like, you know, if this is not you as an earth sign, it could be that, you know, you have to take control because you have to bring more stability. And I see stability here and in the Emperor there. Bring more abundance, more happiness, into this relationship, and maybe you are the one that has to do it. The Five of Wands is telling you that, you know, it may not be easy because there's maybe you and your partner are, you know, not on the same page anymore. Maybe there's a lot of differences that you're just beginning to notice. It could be that they don't see your point of view about the changes you want to make, the life that you want. So just kind of keep that in mind. I feel like something is shifting, but you have to make the changes that are right for you. You do have the Fool at the bottom of the deck, and this card, you know, it's new beginnings, but it is like, you know, taking a giant leap of faith. And it could be that you take a giant leap of faith because you decide to open up a whole, you know, can of worms about what you're feeling, or you begin, you know, you move in a different direction. But this just means you have to follow your heart. Okay, so let's get some additional confirmation for this reading. First card, the Lovers, the Knight of Pentacles, and a Nine of Pentacles. At the bottom of this deck, you have the King of Cups. So for those of you who are single, it could be that, you know, you have, again, you know, from the Seven of Cups, different choices. You have so many choices. I don't usually read like the Knights as a court card, but it could be that for those of you who are single, that there's different people, and I see a lot of people in this reading. It could be that, you know, there's a fire sign, another earth sign, maybe a younger one because it's a knight, and you're confused. So many choices, so many people. Who am I going to choose? I forgot you also have a water sign over here. So for those of you who are single, you just may be like confused and torn over like all the different people that you're meeting this week. You do have the Lovers card here. So they're telling you that, you know, there's a solid relationship here. There's a marriage, there's a relationship. When I look at the card, really, you know, focusing on couples, those who are married, I feel like, you know, there are forces, let's just call them forces, that are trying to keep you together with your partner. That's why these things are kind of being shown to you, so that you stay together and so that everyone is happy, not just one partner. Whatever it is that has to come to the surface, it has to come to the surface, even if you're afraid to bring it up. And I feel like, you know, it won't be easy with the Knight of Pentacles here. I feel like this is going to take work. This may not be something that's resolved this week. The Knight of Pentacles, to me, you know, it represents, you know, focusing on couples. It represents slow progress. You know, this is going to be something that you have to work on for a while. Like I said, it's not going to be resolved this week, especially if you really resonate with all these messages of, you know, feeling unhappy, being afraid to talk about certain things, being disappointed and not getting along with your partner, realizing you're different. It's going to take some time for this to work itself out. You do have the Nine of Pentacles telling you, focus on you. The Nine of Pentacles is all about you. It's about being self-reliant and independent. Don't lean on your partner too much. It doesn't mean that you ignore them, but it just means that you have to focus on yourself. This could even be self-care. You need to be more self-confident in yourself. Don't feel like you need your partner and you're going to fall apart if that person leaves, or you're nothing without that partner. Like, don't think like that. And the King of Cups may have come up for you because they want you being very compassionate. The King of Cups is very much a, a very loving, affectionate energy, very open-hearted energy, a good friend. And it could be that for those of you going through all this, that you need a good friend, someone on your side. For those who are single, all these choices that you have, one of them is marriage material. You may not get married this week, but it could be that you meet that person, that you really have to look at everyone that you're meeting very carefully, because one of them could be the one. And I feel like for you, the Knight of Pentacles, it just represents, different people, new experiences. That's the energy of the Knight of Pentacles. A lot of movement, a lot of new people going in and out of your life, and a lot of going out, fun, a lot of change. But also, the same thing. They're telling you, don't forget you. Don't get, caught up in all these new people and experiences that you're having and opportunities. I feel like there are also, a possibility for a lot of abundance headed your way this week in the form of financial abundance or career opportunities. Focus on you. And the King of Cups, it could be, that there's someone who's a water sign, male or female, who could be the one. Or maybe this also could represent a friend in your life who can really help you out with everything that you have going on here. Maybe, like I said, you're changing direction in what you look for in a partner, or you're starting over. This could represent someone in your life as either a friend, or it could just be, one of those choices that you have to make from all the people that you're meeting this week. Okay, Capricorn, I will end the reading here. I hope you enjoyed it. Much love and bless.